Hello and welcome to my What Sold video for the week of September 2nd through September 9th. We're going to dive right in to get started because we had a really big sales week and lots of things to talk about. If you're new here, my name is Wendy and this is Nina's Jewels. My husband and I buy things at places like thrift stores, garage sales, anywhere we can find things to sell online and flip for a profit. If that's content you're interested in, you're in the right place. The first thing that we sold was a second season DVD set for 21 Jump Street. This we found in the Goodwill bins. We paid $1.68 for it and it sold for our full asking price of $9.99. Next up was the other camp archery pin that we sold. If you watched last week's What Sold video, you'll remember that I sold a pin and I said that I had sold it for kind of a low offer, but that ended up working out for me because the buyer came back and purchased another one a couple days later. Well, that's this one. This sold to the same buyer that we sold the other one to. We'd gotten this at an estate sale for just 3 cents. We bought a big box of them in bulk for $5. And this one sold for an offer to buyer of $10.38. Next up was a lot of 4 Boat US magazines. We got these from someone on Nextdoor who is giving away magazines. We always go pick up free items. Magazines sell well for us. There's not tons of profit in them, but anytime we can get something for $0, we'll definitely take it. This lot of magazines sold for our full asking price of $24.99. Next up was a Gymboree Girls t-shirt. We sell all Gymboree stuff that we list, not tons of profit in this either, but I do know a trick to get Gymboree to sell. If you look in the tag, it will usually have a date in there, and then you can use that to go to like Gymboree fan sites and look at the exact name of the pattern or the set that it came from. And so if you put that in there, this one happened to be from the Holiday Panda. Set's not the right word. I just cannot think of the right word right now. But that collection, the Holiday Panda collection. So if you put that term in there, that makes Gymboree items sell much faster. There are people who look to purchase the entire collection because they're mix and match. And so if you include that keyword, that will definitely help your Gymboree items sell fast. We got this one out of a storage unit. We paid just 28 cents for it. And it sold for $15 even, and that was on best offer. Next up was a 1982 Cabbage Patch doll. She had red hair and blue eyes with freckles, and she was wearing Cabbage Patch Kid branded clothing, a sweater and some leg warmers. And a couple tips about Cabbage Patch Kids, because some of them are not like valuable, but the ones with freckles are definitely more valuable. There's one that has a head mold number, and I cannot think of the number right now, but I'll include that number on the screen. And if you find one with that head mold, which is always written on the back of a head, it'll have that number on there. Those are worth a lot. Those are a couple things to look for in Cabbage Patch Kids. And then Cabbage Patch Kids clothing, branded clothing, sells really well. So anytime we can find that, we pick it up. This doll sold for $25 even. We had gotten it at a thrift store for $6.93, and it sold on best offer. Next up was a vintage 1960s. It was a long sleeve red plaid polyester belted blouse by the brand Mers of California, and it was brand new with the tags. We found this at a garage sale where we found tons of vintage clothing. We paid $5 for it. And this shirt sold for $53.99. I think that was our asking price, maybe, minus a discount. I can't remember exactly, but you'll see the information on the screen over here. Next up was a genuine Coach burgundy silver Carlisle shoulder bag. We got this at a garage sale for $10, and it sold for our full asking price of $67.99. Next up was a Harry Potter coffee mug that we found in the thrift store. We paid $1.03 for this, and it sold really fast for our full asking price of $16.99. Next up was a 2013 Ever After High doll. These are very similar to Monster High dolls, so we'll pick up both Ever After High and Monster High dolls when we see them for the right price. This doll sold for $14 even, and that was on best offer, and we had paid $1 for that at a thrift store. Next up was a pair of Nike Dri-Fit Tempo running shorts. These actually belonged to my daughter. They were hand-me-downs. She no longer wore them, and they sold for $12 even on best offer. Next up was a Saks Fifth Avenue branded women's sweater, and that we got at a garage sale for $1. It sold for a full asking price of $23.79. Next up was a Ralph Lauren women's sweater that we got at a garage sale for $2. This one sold for $24.64. That was on our full asking price. Next up was a Build-A-Bear Workshop outfit. It had a hula skirt, a coconut bra, some sandals, and some little wrist, like hula wristband kind of things. It was like the complete outfit. It was super duper cute. We got this at the garage sale where we got all of the Build-A-Bear stuff. We paid just $1 for it. I had made an offer to someone, and after I had made that offer, somebody else came in and bought this for full price. And the buyer who I had made the offer to messaged me and was like, the item's not there anymore. I wanted to accept your offer. And I was like, you snooze, you lose. Because I was really pleased to get the full asking price on that instead of the offer. But, you know, she did miss out on it. Next up was a lot of 3 Vince Camuto women's bralettes. These were actually mine. I just didn't wear them anymore. They sold for a full asking price of $16.99. Next up was 2 vintage neon signs for Lone Star Beer. These were actually gifted to me by a family member, so I had no cost, and we sold these on local pickup. We sold them on eBay, but we sold them with local pickup, so we are super duper relieved to not have to ship these. They sold for a total price of $400, and that worked out really, really well for us. Next up was a Brain Quest 4th grade flashcard set. We found these in the Goodwill bins. We paid 94 cents for them, and these sold for our full asking price of $12.99. These did take forever to sell. I picked these up because I used to use these with my kids and I really, really liked them. I thought maybe they would sell well, but it took forever to sell, so I would not pick these up again. Unless I had like a really big lot of them or something like that, maybe I would consider it. Next up was a pair of women's Teva sandals. We got these at a garage sale. We paid $2.75 for them, and they sold for a full asking price of $16.14. We are running a clothing, shoes, and accessory sale this month, and that gives buyers 15% off of clothing and shoes, so we are selling a lot of clothing and shoes, and especially ones that we've had in our store for a while, so that's a really good way to move merchandise. If you have a category of things that you're getting a big accumulation of and you want to get it to move, try doing a markdown sale. Next up was a lot of 2 Batman Hot Wheels. They were 2 different styles of Batman Hot Wheels. They were just loose, they weren't in the package or anything. We had found these in a storage unit. We paid 23 cents for them, and these sold for our full asking price of $12.99. Next up was a pair of men's Levi's. We got these at a rummage sale. It was a fill-a-bag rummage sale. We paid just 42 cents for these, and they sold for our full asking price of $21.24. Next up was a great sale. This was a Kate Spade New York green large Cameron satchel shoulder bag purse. We got this really recently at a garage sale for $30, and this purse sold for an offer to buyer of $134.98. Next up was a Cynthia Rowley gingham throw pillow. It had an embroidered ballerina on it, so it was, probably like for a little girl's room. We got this at a garage sale. We paid $2 for it, and this sold for $18 even on best offer. Next up was a men's Kangol hat. This was a kind of a blue knit. It was called a Vent Air cap because it kind of had a sheer breathable fabric. We found this in the bins. We paid $1.03 for it, and this sold for $28 even on best offer. Next up was an interesting sale, and I definitely learned about a new Bolo when I researched this. This was a lot of 6 vintage 1997. The brand was Helleman. and they were action figures that were designed for Latter-day Mormon. They were like Latter-day Mormon action figures. So a super unusual, kind of hard to find item. And we got those in 2 different toy bags at the thrift store. We bundled them all together and sold them as a lot. We had paid 26 cents in total for these, and these sold for our full asking price of $59.99. So definitely a bolo to be on the lookout for. Next up was a lot of 3 Francoma prairie green pottery like cereal or soup bowls. We got this in that huge lot of Francoma dishes that we got at a garage sale. We had paid $10 in total for all of the dishes. This is the first of them to sell. And when we broke down our per listing cost, they were just 75 cents. So this lot sold for $42.99. That was our full asking price. Next up was a vintage package of Christmas light clips for eaves. They were sealed, new in the package, never been used. We have done really well with like vintage, light clips and all kinds of like vintage Christmas stuff that, is not necessarily decor. So be on the lookout for stuff like that. We got these at a garage sale where they were just giving away everything for free, so we had no cost on this. And these sold super fast for $25, even on best offer. Next up was a women's Sag Harbor gold metallic cardigan sweater. It had a layered look, and a good keyword to use for the layered look is login look. Lagenlook. You'll see it in my title over here. That is a good keyword to use for it has a layered look to it. So we got this sweater at a garage sale for $3, and it sold for our full asking price of $21.24. Next up was a pair of silver-plated champagne flutes that we found in the Goodwill bins. We paid 61 cents for them, and they sold on offer to buyer for $19.98. Next up was a 2-piece lot of Kmart brand Trim-A-Home silver winter frost laser cut snowflake ornaments. They were really big ornaments that you could hang in your window. You could also hang them on your tree. We got these out of the Goodwill bins. We paid just 67 cents for them, and these sold for an offer to buyer of $11.18. Next up was a lot of 2 vintage hardcover horse books, and they had some flaws. This is not something I would normally pick up, but we were at a garage sale where the lady said you can just take these kitchen trash bags and fill them up with anything you want from the sale, and it'll be just $10. She was towards the end of her sale and just wanting to get rid of stuff, so I was picking up stuff and not necessarily comping it, and I was hoping these would be worth more, but they weren't. But we listed them anyway, and they sold. We had paid just 33 cents for them, and they sold for an offer to buyer of $9.88. Next up was a vintage 1978 Bible. We got this at a thrift store for 51 cents, and this one sold for $11 even on best offer. Next up was a mistake that we made. This was a lot of 2 Western North Carolina magazines, and we had gotten these for free from someone who was giving away magazines through Facebook Marketplace, but I messed up when I was listing this and did not take into account that these magazines were like wider than normal magazines, because typically when we ship magazines, and you cannot ship magazines through media mail because they have advertisements in it, it's against media mail regulations. So we usually put magazines, small lots of magazines, in the flat rate envelopes, and that helps us save some money and make money on magazines. But unfortunately these would not fit in the flat rate envelope, and so I didn't take that into account when I was listing them, and we ended up losing a little bit on these. So lesson learned there. But we sold these for $10.38 on offer to buyer, and we lost 10 cents on this. So, we paid somebody 10 cents to learn a lesson. Next up was an altered state burgundy lace A-line sundress. This was my daughter's. She didn't wear it anymore, and it was a hand-me-down, so we didn't have any cost. This sold for $24 even on best offer. Next Next up was a Nintendo 64 Donkey Kong game, and it had the jumper pack, the manual, and an aftermarket case. We got this at a garage sale. We paid $10 for it, and this sold for $52.48 on offer to buyer. Next up was a Klaus Tuber's Catan Jr. It's the Settlers of Catan game, but this one is designed for children. This was clearly never played with. The plastic shrink wrap had been taken off of it, but it was in like pristine condition and it did not look like anybody had ever played it. So I listed it as new open box. And this we got at a garage sale for $2 and it sold for $21 even on best offer, and we sold that on Mercari. Next up was a Build-A-Bear workshop. This was a 4-piece Statue of Liberty outfit. We got this at that same garage sale where we got all the Build-A-Bear stuff. We paid just $1 for it. This one sold for $18.38 on offer to buyer. Next up was a 12-pack of golf balls. The brand was MC Lady. And these were new in package, never been opened, but I think this is maybe a golf ball that is no longer made. So it seemed like more valuable than like just a normal package of golf balls, but I don't really know anything about golf balls, so definitely don't quote me on that. But we got these at a garage sale, actually from our neighbor like 4 doors down. And we had paid $5 for these, and they sold for $29.99 on our full asking price. Next up was a vintage 1988 Matchbox Cars Super Spin Motor City Jet Spray Car Wash. It was incomplete and it had some damage, so we listed that information right in the title. But this is an item to pick up if you ever see it because it seems like it sells really well. We had paid just $1 for this on a big lot of Hot Wheels and Matchbox different tracks and stuff that we found, and this sold for $30 even on best offer. And next up was a lot of 29 Harry Potter bookmarks. We found all these bookmarks inside of the Harry Potter books that we got in 10 different languages at the thrift store. So these were just like a bonus item. I actually put some cost on it on my spreadsheet. I said that we paid $1 each for them, and then I deducted that cost from the books that we found them in. And then also we had a lot of, I don't know how many it was, maybe 12 Harry Potter bookmarks that we had found at a garage sale too, which had not sold yet, so we combined all of those together and listed them as an auction. We had paid $5.25 for those according to my spreadsheet math, and these sold for our opening bid of $59.99. Next up was a lot of 2 Tulip brand tie-dye sets, or tie-dye kits. One of them was orange and one of them was blue. We got these at a garage sale for 50 cents. They were new in the package, and these sold for our full asking price of $14.99. Next up was one of the Tannerite stickers. If you've seen some of my past What Sold videos, you know we picked up a big stack of Tannerite stickers at the Goodwill bins. It was like this tall, and I think this is only our 3rd one to sell, and we've had these things forever, so we're going to have to figure out some other option to get rid of them. We had paid just 67 cents a piece for each of these. This one sold for our full asking price of $7.99. Next up was something that we got from the rummage sale with the big photography equipment lot that we purchased. I don't know exactly what this item was, but this is how I listed it. A Kodak projection print scale photo enlarging printing aid and instructions. We had paid just $1 for this, and it sold on offer to buyer for $15.98. We have made so much money on that purchase. That was one of the best purchases that we've made this year. Next up was a 1990 lapel pin of the baseball player Will Clark. This belonged to my husband. He's had it since the 90s, or he's had it since 1990, I guess. And so I don't know what our cost was, but it sold for $15 even on best offer. Last, I'm going to go over all of the collectible cards that sold for my husband's personal collection. This week we sold 6 cards for a total price of $24.90. Let's go over our totals. This week we sold 46 items for an average sale price of $33.12. Our sales totaled $1,523.42, and that made for a net profit just shy of our $1,000 goal of $932.41. And that wraps up our video for the week of September 3rd through 9th. I think I might have said September 2nd through 9th at the beginning, but it's actually September 3rd through 9th. If you enjoyed this video, please let us know by hitting the like button. And if you're not already subscribed, we would really appreciate it if you would consider hitting that subscribe button with the notification bell on so you can be kept informed of all of our latest content. Thank you so much for joining, and we will catch you on the flip side.